Welcome to the Tiffani Talks Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Tiffani Patlan, health and wellness coach, best-selling author, and motivational speaker. I use my past experiences of overcoming a life of mental, physical, sexual, and substance abuse to inspire and empower you with knowledge in 30 minutes or less. I am on a godly mission to lead others to discover their unique path to healing and happiness. Everybody, thank you for joining me today. I have a very important topic that I want to talk about because it's something that I've been enduring, and I know I'm not the only one. And the topic is converting anger to understanding. Because those of you that use social media, I'm sure you see it all the time. Lately these days, the popular topic about abortion, and people have their different perspectives and opinions for a reason. And it can be a variety of reasons. It could be because of what happened to them, their own experiences, or it could be, what they adopted from their caregivers growing up, or the people that they're surrounding themselves with. Because, I've learned that you become like the 5 people that you mostly surround yourself with. So it can become easy to pick up words that people use, or ideals or habits, things like that. So with me, I am going to throw it out there. I'm truly pro-life. I've been attacked on social media and I get it. People are just so emotionally charged. They tend to project people. There's a lot of mentally ill people in this world, and that is not a bad thing to say. I was mentally ill. I didn't even know I was. I didn't know that a lot of the experiences I was having, like the anxiety and depressive disorder, I never realized that was a mental illness. I didn't know those things, and a lot of us still don't, and I don't judge you for that. I'm the one that's over here trying to help educate people, because I understand how people can grow up not knowing important things, like I was. I actually started feeling quite silly. I felt dumb and stupid, not only because I had people in my life telling me that I was, but because there were certain things that I felt like I should know that I did not know. But that's not the case. It doesn't matter what other people say with how intelligent or smart you are. All that matters is what you think. You are as smart and as intelligent as you believe yourself to be. And if you find that you are not satisfied with where you're at educationally and any topic, guess what? That's the beauty of researching. You can research and feed your brain. Just learn about what matters to you. You know what I mean? So arguing with strangers on social media it's an issue. It's a problem. And frankly, I think it's a waste of time. Because when we're mentally ill and we have these issues, we can easily be triggered. And that's something else. We don't always realize how we're being triggered and why. We don't always know that. So that's why it's super important, to start that healing process if you haven't. Because then once you're triggered, your mind basically goes back to whatever instance that occurred in your past that you attach those emotions to, and then those tend to come out in the current conversation that you're having. And it doesn't always match, with what's actually happening. And like I said, so many of us don't realize that. That's why I give people grace. I have empathy and compassion. And again, that's why I always talk about these things, because I really, really, really want to help educate people. I hate that, there was so much that I did not know. So I want other people to know. So that's one thing, is if you find yourself in a conversation, I feel like people should not be afraid to speak up. I've been speaking up because this abortion topic is very, very, very important to me, because I have experience with it. So I feel like I have this experience, and now's the time where I'm meant to speak up about it. So I am, but that doesn't mean that I'm not coming across, people that are projecting. people that are emotionally charged. So therefore they, start personally attacking you. They go to your page and they see something you're doing, and then they come back and then they comment, oh, so-and-so, this, that, and the other. Like, seriously, that is very, very, very immature. But again, I realize that people are doing that because they're emotionally charged. That's why emotional management, emotional intelligence is very, very important to acknowledge when you're feeling a certain way. So you make sure you're not reacting, from those emotions. There's a way to acknowledge that you're feeling an emotion. You could be angry as all hell. You could be super duper angry, but being able to manage that emotion, knowing that you do not have to project that anger onto other people and still have an intelligent conversation. That's emotional intelligence. And a lot of us, can grow from that, me included. I'm not saying I'm an expert. I understand and know. That doesn't mean I'm perfect. Remember, none of us are. We're all perfectly imperfect, but there's always room to be better, to be a better version of yourself. So again, throwing information out there for you guys. I noticed that a lot of people would probably get, further along in their conversations if they were to get curious instead of furious. Because, everybody's allowed to feel that they want to feel, but it's just when you start projecting, when you start using your emotions to react and you start putting those into words and name calling, and then you start personally attacking people. And it's just like, that's just a waste of time. Nobody's getting anything accomplished. If anything, you're hurting someone else or you're hurting each other. Sometimes you can poke a bear, meaning somebody who's emotionally charged is over here personally attacking, being rude, disrespectful, all the things. And, another person is trying so hard to have a legit conversation out of respect and ignoring these, personal attacks and all this stuff. But there comes a point where people do break and they start to respond in a negative way too, because they're pissed that this other person is being so rude and disrespectful. But that just wastes time. It wastes time. Instead of us, focusing on what really matters. And not only that, we got to remember we're strangers, social media, 9 times out of 10, we're strangers. We're not talking to somebody that we know. We don't know their heart. We don't know what they've gone through. We don't know their experiences. We don't know the research they've done. We don't know that. So to assume makes an ass out of you and me. We've all heard that, right? We should never assume. That is like the biggest waste of time, and I'm guilty of it. I do it sometimes, but I do my best to make sure I do not do that when I can see that it's really important. Like, we should not assume, because it doesn't do anything good to assume. We should ask questions. If somebody has a different belief than you, ask, get curious. Why do you believe that way? And then they might tell you something, and perhaps otherwise. Share. There's no reason why we have to say, well, you're wrong, or you're this, or you're that. If we focused more on I statements, like instead of saying, well, you're wrong because I'm this and that and blah, blah, blah. Let's stop the attitude, right? Just say, I wonder why she thinks that way. So ask. And then they share something and be like, wow, that's interesting. In my research, I found XYZ, which is obviously the opposite of what they believe. And there shouldn't, that's where we need to be mindful of getting triggered and projecting, because just because somebody shares a different perspective, that doesn't mean that yours is in danger. You can hold on to your belief. You can keep your belief. You can keep your perspective. That is your right. That is your choice. It's not been taken away from you. You have that option. But there's nothing wrong with taking your stance, knowing you have it. No one can take it away from you. But allowing your mind to open up to think about why and how other people think the way that they do. When you do that, wow, beautiful things can happen, because you're able to understand other people's, where people are at mentally, and you can understand another person's perspective. And we all deserve that. We all deserve to be respected as a human being for having our own opinions, thoughts, ideals, morals. And like I mentioned in the beginning, that all comes from, how we were raised, our experiences and all that. And I in my coaching, my health and wellness coaching, what I like to tell people to do is one of the good things, a good method to try is where you actually stop and think, and you're just alone with you and your thoughts. And you start writing down, what your morals are when it comes to a variety of topics. And you might find that you're like, wow, that doesn't resonate with me. Where did I get that from? Why do I think that way? Why do I believe in that? Why do I feel that way? And it's good to ask yourself those questions because it helps you understand, like, wow, that doesn't even resonate with me as an adult, as a person. That was my mom, or that was my dad or my grandmother, or whoever took care of you. Wow, that's not really who I am. Well, guess what? I have the power to change that. I do not have to believe that way. I can choose to change my thought process, my perspective, my opinions. Like we can do that. But I don't feel like people should be forcing their beliefs on other people. I don't agree with that. I believe people, go through things because every single one of us has our own unique path. And that's why I always say that I like to help other people discover their own unique path to healing and happiness, because my path is not the same as somebody else's. And if you're pro-choice, pro-life, there's a reason for that. And I'm not here to point fingers at people and say that you're wrong. I don't think any of us should do that. I think we should just have respectful conversations and listen to one another, because we could get a lot further if we did that instead of arguing. But I know being argumentative is kind of like a habit. It can become a habit where you're just so quick to chime in and interrupt people and talk over people. Maybe because you didn't grow up having power in your voice, you become offended when people have a different opinion or thought. And again, that's why I say, focus on you and how you can be better, at conversing and with people. Now, so how do you do that? Like, what's the solution to all of this, to this arguing? Well, I think that, what first comes is presenting the issue and then taking turns, sharing the different perspectives. This person has a perspective and then so does this one, and they're different, but each person deserves the respect, to be paid attention to be able to speak their, voice their opinion, their belief, what have you, and why. And, then that's where the questions can come about, asking questions, because that's how we learn. Iron sharpens iron. When there's a disagreement, why not take it to a Zoom call and have a study session and research together to find common ground? I've actually asked somebody to do that, and they're like, oh no, because what you said just would be a waste of my time. They're assuming it was going to get real. And I feel like that person, just wanted to hide behind the computer. I get that. Because some people, you're behind the computer. It's not really confrontation because you're not in front of somebody, right? So you're able to hide in the safety of your own home or wherever you're at and type however you want. But the reality is that if these people were to come face to face, or even on a Zoom session, where you're still safe, but you're face to face, I feel like people would treat each other with a little bit more respect. So I encourage you to do that. If you find yourself in a position where you're doing your part and you're trying to speak up on something that you feel passionate about, please don't be discouraged from other people being rude and nasty. Give them grace. That's what I do. I give people grace because I can see where they're at. And that's all I have is just grace. I understand they're in a position where they think that way for certain reasons, and that's just them being on their path. And I just pray that, as I, share information, that people will make the choice to learn. It's like planting a seed. It may or may not grow, but I'm still going to plant that seed because I'm a truth seeker. I believe in truth. I'm all about truth. I want the truth about things. And I always look at the bigger picture. I research. Again, not saying that I know everything. I don't. That's why we need to research, and we need to always, all of us should always challenge our beliefs all the time. If you're sitting on beliefs and ideals from, 40 years ago, you never know, you might have changed. There's nothing wrong with that self-improvement method to go back and, look at your morals and your ideals and see where they came from and if they still resonate with you today. I always say, imagine how much more this world would be a better place if people spent less time arguing on social media, name calling, making it personal, this, that, and the other. It's a waste of time. It does nothing. Remember, it hurts people. But if together people focused on solutions to these problems, this world would be a better place. More things would be getting resolved. More things would be getting done. So I feel like that's what we need to focus on. We need to stop, trying to hurt other people just because they think differently. Let's get curious instead of furious. And what is the outcome by doing that? The outcome is we get to understand. It's just better understanding of how different people in the world think and operate and why. When you ask those questions, you get answers. A new perspective for yourself about any given topic. Maybe this person said something, you're like, huh? And then all of a sudden you're like, I think I'm going to research that. That's beautiful. That's great. That's progress. That is more on a path towards a solution than it is towards a negative path where you're hurting other people that you don't even know. You know what I mean? Just because, you're emotionally charged or projecting and triggered. Knowledge is power. I'm sure you guys have heard that. It's true. Knowledge is power. The more we learn, the more powerful we can become. And the more we can put our energy and focus on solutions and ways to prevent the evil in this world and to not, support additional sin in this world. There's a lot of women that, have been focusing on a lot of the issues. And it does have to do with abortion, the abortion topic. Like I mentioned, I've been speaking up a lot about it because I feel called to. I feel called to. So that's why I've been doing it. And somebody accused me. They said, well, if you are really a pro-lifer, you would have been caring about people that are alive that don't have a quality of life. And I think somebody mentioned something about how they work with people and they put them on top of a horse and this person screamed bloody murder. And I'm like, trying to understand what is her point in sharing that with me. I'm not there. I don't know her experiences. So people should understand that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know your life. I wouldn't claim to, like other people do. We need to stop doing that. It just doesn't help. I don't understand anything about this situation except for what she told me. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if a person, is whatever the case may be, whether they're mentally challenged or I really don't know the details, but if somebody's, in that position some way, somehow, and they're not able to ride a horse, well, then they shouldn't be riding a horse, or maybe they need baby steps, or maybe there's other things that they can do to enjoy life, but again, I'm only speaking on that little tiny bit of information that I know. I realize I do not know the whole picture, but yet this person was accusing me of not caring. And I'm going to admit something. I have not been speaking up that strongly about abortion prior to Roe versus Wade. Why? Well, because I've been focusing on talking about abortion in my book. I did talk about that. I made it a point to include what really happens because I want women to be informed. I feel like that's me kind of caring about that. Could I have done more? Of course. Yeah. And I am. I'm charged. I am charged up about this topic. So I'm doing what I can. What is something else that's said? They think there's an accusation. That's another one. Accusations. We need to stop with the accusations. Stop accusing people of this, that, and the other, especially when you don't know them. It's like it's frustrating to me when people do that because it's like you can say what you want all day, but it doesn't make it true. Like, let's seek the truth together. Like, let's not be against each other and be mean to one another. Have compassion, have empathy. I understand that people who think, these women, they are so passionate. They cannot get off the topic about that abortion should be legal for children of rape. And they keep bringing up the 10-year-old, and I know it's like a parrot. People are just repeating it. And, according to the statistics, that happens less than 1%. Does that mean they should be disregarded? Of course not. I never said that, but yet people do that. They're like, well, you should still care. It's like, I never said I didn't. You know what I mean? It's just silly. It's just negative banter and it just gets us nowhere, and I'm not mad by it. I'm not depressed. What I get when I see that happening is I get sad. I get really, really sad because the way I see things is that when people are acting that way, reacting that way, it motivates me. It makes me sad because I feel like people are being misled. People are being lied to, and people are holding on to these lies as truth. And people are angry because they don't know how to be emotional intelligent, because a lot of people aren't teaching that. But then there are a lot of people that are, like me. I want to help other people realize that they have, control over their own thinking, that, your mind is yours. And if you let it run wild, it will go. It will do its thing. Believe me, I know. So when we start to get back to knowing who we are as a person, knowing how we respond, how we react, how we communicate, it really is a disservice to not become the best version of yourself. Because when people are, trying to speak up for important topics, if you're doing it in a way where you just go out and accuse random people on social media of doing all these negative things that you don't even know, that's not helping anybody. I understand the passion around children who have been raped, and I've been repeating myself so much, it's exhausting, but it's not that I don't care about that. I'm angry about that, whether it's less than 0.25%. You know what I mean? I don't care about the number. I care about the fact that it's happening in the first place. That angers me. I want to see more being done to prevent children from being raped, from women, from men, from boys, from rape in general. Whatever picture you want to paint that has the word rape in it, I hate it. I don't want it to happen anymore. I want more to be done about that. What can I do? I can use my platform. That's what I'm doing. I can continue sharing truth. That's what I'm able to do right here, right now. I do have ideas in the future. I do have the heart to help kids. That's something else that people like to accuse. Oh, if you were really pro-life, then you would be helping all the kids that are adopted and do and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, I understand that. But again, you don't know me. You don't know other people in this world. You could be arguing with somebody who actually has fostered kids before. You know what I mean? Like, we need to stop with the assumptions. Ask questions. Ask questions. Just ask questions. That is the best route you can take, is don't name call, don't assume, don't accuse. Ask questions, share perspectives, and learn. This way we can make this world a better place. I've had thoughts about creating a nonprofit organization and trying to get people to donate, because I have a vision. I have a vision of owning 100 acres of land where we will build our dream home. I want to have a huge herb garden, vegetable garden, an orchard, because those would feed my businesses, my herbal potions business, my cosmic sweets business. And I also have ideas of donating a lot of those fruits and vegetables to people. I want to have somewhere on my property, a big old house for people to come live for a whole year, to promote my program, but not for people to pay for it. Because, there were times when I was 14 years old out on the street, and I remember just wondering, why is it so hard for me to find a place to live? Why is it so hard for me to find a job that will pay me enough money to afford an apartment? Why is it so hard to find a bed or a warm place to sleep? Like, why am I alone? Why am I not being cared for? You know what I mean? And I just wish there was a place that I could have gone to without worrying about the money factor. And I have all this figured out in my head. I just don't have the funding, but I know it's coming. God put this in my vision, in my heart. And when the time comes, I believe it's going to happen. And I haven't, I don't have all the details. So I don't know if maybe there would be one for kids, and maybe there would be one for adults. Maybe there should be one for women, and maybe there should be one for men, because I do want to make sure that people are safe. I want to make sure there's background checks, cameras, security. Like, I want to make sure people are safe, because I understand, like, is it CPS? There's different verbiages. DHS, I think some other people call it. I could be wrong there, but the places that are meant to take care of kids, child protective services, yes, those places. I hear a lot, people that foster children are actually abusing them. And that makes me angry, so that's the reason why I want to have a place that will take care of all of those issues. You know what I'm saying? I want these people to go through this program for a whole year where they learn how to heal mentally, physically, and spiritually. And then I thought, well, this building needs to run, right? It needs to run. So then I thought about why not having the people that are part of this program help run the facility. For example, when it comes to food, I don't want to buy food from anybody else. I want that food, that clean, organic food that helps you mentally, physically, and spiritually. I want that to come from my garden. So people can actually get in their hands dirty, learn about gardening. They're outside, just being out in nature connects you spiritually. Doing that kind of stuff, gardening, it builds your confidence. Like, it's so healing. So imagine being able to do something like that. So there's really, it's a low cost. The overhead is really low as we can possibly make it. Cleaning. I don't feel the need to hire somebody to come clean the facility, maybe the big stuff. But then again, it's like with children, simply doing chores, it builds responsibility, confidence. There's a lot of good that can come from all of these things. So I've had all these thoughts. I have a lot of ideas and thoughts. My only thing is, why isn't it happening now? It's because I don't have the funding, and I'm aiming to get there. I'm looking forward to getting there. I'm doing everything that I can to do that. So that's where I'm at with that. I don't really have much more to say about the topic, is I just really want to encourage people. Don't be afraid to speak up because of how other people can become nasty on social media. Keep spreading the word. Keep spreading the truth. That's what God wants us to do. He's calling us. If you feel strongly about sharing something, do it. If there's somebody that's being really nasty and irate and like kind of creepy and scary, by all means, block them. Be safe. But then there are some people that I've noticed, when you stop and sit there and call them out and saying, hey, let's keep this respectful and stop the name calling. If you would like to ask me a question, I'd be happy to answer it, but let's keep this civil. And if that person doesn't respect your wishes, then guess what? You do not have to respond anymore. But never stop speaking the truth. Don't let people, because of how they are and they're projecting, they're triggering, don't let them, prevent you from planting those seeds. You never know what may grow later on. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely want to encourage you. And if you're somebody that tends to argue with other people, I just want you to know that I actually appreciate and respect your passion. I see that. I see the passion. But your words, your actions, your energy would be better served by having intelligent conversations, respectful conversations, asking questions, and learning why people think the way they do. Accusations just hurt other people. So and personalizing it. Let's not do that. There's nothing to that. That just creates more hurt and pain. And we're trying to do the opposite of that. Let's spread love and let's spread truth. So as we come to the end of this segment, I wanted to pray. So I invite you to join me. So I'm just going to get into it and then we'll end. Heavenly Father, I pray that this segment will reach the people who are ready to hear this message. I pray that people will open their hearts to seek more truth. I pray that people will be less argumentative in a way that causes them to hurt other people. I pray that people will learn how to better communicate with our brethren, with our sisters and brothers of this world, so that way we can put our energy on solutions to fixing these problems that we're having all over the world, Father. I pray that people that are of you will rise up to continue to speak truth out there, and let's just love one another. Thank you, Heavenly Father. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So thank you, everybody, for listening and for just supporting me in general. If you know anybody that would benefit from hearing this message, by all means, share it with them. And if you have by chance taken a look at my YouTube channel, you might notice a lot of videos missing. And that is because I'm revamping my page, and it's going to take me a while to get all those videos back up. But you have the opportunity to listen to all the videos audially on the top 10 distribution channels. You can also find them on my Facebook page, and I also have the live videos of all my podcasts on my Facebook page at Tiffani Talks. And so that's it for me, guys. Sending love and light to you all.